The internet is spiraling at full speed right now. And if you've even glanced at your timeline in the last few hours, you already know that the drama between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost has officially reached a level nobody saw coming, igniting one of the wildest social media meltdowns the love and hip-hop community has witnessed in months. What started as a few cryptic lines, a couple of eyebrow-raising reactions, and whispers behind closed doors has now erupted into a digital earthquake shaking every corner of the fandom from Instagram, lives to TikTok stitches to YouTube. Reactors dissecting every second with forensic precision. The moment the first clip dropped, hinting at a brewing confrontation. The internet didn't pause, didn't breathe, didn't blink. It went from zero to chaos instantly. People began screen recording everything in sight, analyzing tones, body language, background noises, and even the pacing of Yandy's sentences as if they were decoding a national secret. Meanwhile, Rashida's subtle reactions added gasoline to an already blazing fire. And suddenly everyone had a theory, a prediction, or a receipt they were ready to present like evidence in a courtroom. Social media became a battleground of opinions, with some claiming this was years of tension finally bubbling to the surface, while others argued it was all triggered by deeper personal issues people aren't even ready to talk about yet. Comment sections flooded with thousands of heated breakdowns, some defending Yandy's stance, others insisting Rashida had every right to respond the way she did, and a large portion demanding that both women drop the full story already because the suspense was too much to handle. Within minutes, hashtags formed, reaction channels went live, mid-conversation, and fans around the world canceled whatever they were doing just to refresh their feeds for the next explosive update. What makes this moment even more unbelievable is how fast the situation escalated. 1 minute, the drama was a quiet rumor floating in the background, and the next minute, it became the central storyline the entire internet refused to let go of. And now, here we are, diving headfirst into the mess, the mystery, the tension, and the raw emotions fueling one of the most talked about reality TV conflicts of the year. When the internet was already drowning in speculation, tension, and non-stop debate over the brewing conflict between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost, things took a completely unpredictable turn the moment Tasha K stepped into the conversation, instantly shifting the energy from chaotic to downright volcanic. Tasha K has never been the type to tiptoe around drama. She speaks. The whole timeline stops to listen. And that's exactly what happened as soon as she dropped her first reaction to the situation. She didn't ease into it, she didn't tease it, she didn't warm the audience up. She just dove straight into the heart of the controversy with her signature boldness, layered commentary, an unmistakable confidence that she knew something the rest of us didn't. Within minutes, clips of her commentary spread like wildfire across social media, with fans dissecting her tone, her choice of words, and the subtle hints she sprinkled in as if each sentence held a secret key to unlocking the full truth behind the Yandy-Rashida tension. People immediately began arguing over whether Tasha was revealing insider information or simply stirring the pot for entertainment. Either way, her presence alone was enough to send the algorithm into a frenzy. The moment she mentioned that she had been watching the situation for a while, the audience collectively lost its mind, convinced she was about to expose something massive. Fans started flooding her comment section, begging her to spill the full tea, while others warned that her involvement meant things were about to get much messier. And it didn't stop. Their reaction channels began using her live as a reference point, stitching her clips with theories, screenshots, and timelines, trying to connect dots that may or may not even exist. Some supporters argued that Tasha K was simply addressing what everyone was already thinking, while critics accused her of intensifying an already delicate situation, especially considering the sensitive nature of the rumors swirling around Mendice's loyalty and behind-the-scenes alliances. But whether people agreed with her or not, one thing was undeniable. Her commentary completely shifted the momentum of the narrative. Before she spoke, the internet was confused. After she spoke, the internet was obsessed. By stepping in at the exact moment tensions peaked. Tasha K didn't just join the conversation, she redirected it, amplified it, and ensured that the story wasn't just going viral, but exploding in every corner of the online world. As soon as the clip of Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost's heated exchange hit social media, the internet erupted in a way that only reality TV drama can provoke, sending fans, bloggers, and even casual viewers spiraling into a frenzy of nonstop reactions, rapid-fire comments, and chaotic thread chains that seemed to multiply by the minute, creating an online storm that no one saw coming but everyone wanted to be part of. Within minutes, TikTok edits, stitched reaction videos, and slowed-down breakdown clips flooded timelines, with people analyzing every single micro-expression, every side eye, every pause, and every shift in tone between Yandy and Rashida, as if they were studying a high-profile courtroom case instead of a love and hip-hop confrontation. Comment sections turned into digital battlefields where fans picked sides, with Team Yandy insisting she was speaking from a place of long-held frustration and honesty, while Team Rashida argued she was simply defending her family and reacting to disrespect that had gone too far. Hashtags like #YandyYVs, RASHEEDA, #LHHDrama, and #NotYandyY again began trending across X, Instagram, and TikTok, drawing in users who weren't even fans of the show but couldn't resist joining the conversation. Some viewers swore they heard hidden shade tucked between Rashida's lines, while others were convinced Yandy's facial expressions told a deeper story of betrayal and bottled-up tension. Meme pages had a field day, using screenshots of the argument to create viral jokes, reaction memes, and sarcastic captions that only added more fuel to the wildfire. Influencers and pop culture commentators quickly jumped in with live streams and commentary videos, adding their own interpretations, hot takes, and speculations, which only intensified the confusion and pushed the drama further into the spotlight. Even old clips resurfaced, with fans pulling up past interviews, previous episodes, and behind-the-scenes footage to try to connect the dots, insisting this tension didn't just appear overnight. The chaos grew so massive that people began tagging cast members, producers, and even unrelated celebrities, demanding statements, explanations, or at least a hint of what triggered such explosive energy between the two longtime castmates. In just hours, what started as a single leaked moment transformed into a full-blown digital hurricane, proving once again that when Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost are involved, the internet doesn't just react, it spirals. When the clip of Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost's confrontation started circulating, what truly sent viewers into detective mode wasn't just the words being exchanged, it was the tone, the subtle sarcasm, the loaded pauses, and the behind-the-curtain hints woven into every sentence, almost as if both women were saying far more than they were willing to spell out directly, giving the whole moment a layered, double-meaning intensity that fans immediately recognized as something deeper than a casual disagreement. Yandy's delivery had that familiar but deadly energy, the type where the voice stays level but the message cuts sharp, making viewers feel like she was holding back years of unspoken frustration, choosing her words with surgical precision so she could make her point without revealing too much of what was brewing beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Rashida's tone carried that unmistakable blend of southern sweetness wrapped in steel, the kind of sarcastic "I hear you, but I don't believe you" cadence that reality TV fans know all too well. The cadence that signals a woman who's not just offended, but tired, done, and unwilling to let anyone twist her narrative. The pauses between their statements felt intentional, almost rehearsed, as if both of them were trying to decide how much truth to expose and how much to leave hanging in the air for viewers to interpret. People quickly picked up on the micro-expressions, the raised brow, the tight smile, the sideways glance, which hinted that there were off-camera conversations, maybe even long-standing issues, that had never been shared publicly but were definitely influencing the heat of this exchange. Some fans noticed how Yandy emphasized certain Words like respect and truth, while Rashida emphasized loyalty and family, leading many to believe the root of this tension stretched far beyond the moment captured on screen. Even the way they sat, shifted, and responded to each other had a coded feel, like each movement was an unspoken paragraph. The sarcasm didn't feel playful. It felt like a shield. The tone didn't feel spontaneous. It felt like the result of months, maybe years of unresolved friction. And every hint, no matter how small, made fans feel like there was an entire chapter missing from the story. A chapter that both Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost were aware of, but weren't ready to reveal outright. That's what made this moment hit differently. It wasn't just a fight. It was a crack in the facade. A rare glimpse at something the cameras weren't meant to catch. Something the cameras weren't meant to catch. The moment fans heard the cryptic lines exchanged between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost. Social media timelines didn't just react, they broke. Completely flooded with clipped quotes, slowed down audio, zoomed in edits, and thousands of comments trying to decode every layered word these two reality TV powerhouses threw at each other. It wasn't the yelling that caught people off guard. It was the quietly dangerous sentences packed with meaning that made even casual viewers pause the video, rewind, replay, and then run to the comments asking, wait, did she really just say that? One of the lines that spread like wildfire was when Yandy looked Rashida dead in the eye and said, "See, the thing about the truth is, it doesn't need permission to come out." Within minutes, the clip had been turned into memes, reaction sounds, and TikTok audios, with fans insisting this wasn't just a statement. It was a direct hit aimed at something or someone Yandy wasn't naming openly. Rashida fired back with her own now viral line, "Don't start a story you're not ready to finish, because I don't do half-truths." That sentence alone became the center of thousands of fan theories, with people claiming Rashida was hinting at hidden conversations, deleted texts, or behind-the-scenes drama the show never aired. Another moment that caused chaos was when Yandy muttered under her breath, "People love acting loyal until loyalty costs them something." A line fans slowed down, captioned, and stitched endlessly, suggesting she was definitely talking about Mendices or some unspoken betrayal involving the friend circle. Then Rashida delivered the jaw-dropper. "Just remember who kept your name clean when you couldn't do it yourself." That one sentence sent the internet into a frenzy because it sounded like an indirect reminder of old favors, past secrets, or moments of protection the public didn't know about. Viewers started pulling up old interviews, reunion episodes, and years-old clips trying to piece together what these cryptic references were pointing toward. The way each line was delivered, calm voice, tense smile, sharp eyes, only made the moment feel even heavier. As if both women were dancing around truths they refused to expose fully on camera. These weren't random statements. They felt like loaded messages disguised as dialogue. And that's why timelines exploded, not because of what was said, but because of everything that was implied. As the tension between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost spread across social media, fans didn't just watch, they transformed into full-time detectives combing through old clips, forgotten interviews, live stream replays, and archived episodes to piece together the deeper story they were convinced existed behind this explosive moment, creating an entire investigation ecosystem that grew more intense by the hour. TikTok became the headquarters of this digital detective work, with creators stitching the viral confrontation clip alongside old scenes from Love and Hip Hop, pointing out moments where Yandy and Rashida exchanged odd looks, paused before responding, or avoided certain topics entirely, suggesting these subtle cues hinted at long-standing tension that had now finally boiled over. Some fans dug up a 2018 live stream where Yandy mentioned friends who switched sides when cameras stopped rolling, while others resurfaced a clip of Rashida from years ago talking about fake loyalty in this industry, with both moments now being analyzed as possible. Early signs of this clash? Screenshots from past reunions were shared like evidence files, with users circling facial expressions, body language, Or lines that seemed harmless back then but now looked suspiciously connected to their recent confrontation. Reddit threads turned into detective labs, with fans building timelines, mapping relationships, and forming theories that ranged from secret business disagreements to personal betrayals involving shared friends, old favors, or behind-the-scenes alliances. Some claimed Yandy's cryptic comments aligned with earlier rumors about disagreements over loyalty within the cast, while others insisted Rashida's defensive tone matched whispers from old blogs about her protecting someone's reputation. Even Instagram story reposts became clues as fans analyzed timestamps, background locations, and even the emojis used by cast members as hints toward whose side they were quietly supporting. YouTube commentators joined in, releasing hour-long breakdowns comparing past storylines to the current drama, while Twitter users created entire threads connecting dots that might not even exist but still spread like wildfire. The detective work reached a point where even unrelated cast members' old interviews were being rewatched for hints, and followers began tagging producers demanding they release the unaired footage. What made this frenzy so wild was the sheer dedication. Fans weren't just reacting. They were investigating, constructing theories, challenging each other's findings, and building an entire narrative of hidden history between Yandy, Smith, and Rashida Frost. Whether any of it was accurate didn't even matter because the thrill of uncovering the truth behind the truth had turned the entire internet into one giant detective squad, determined to solve a mystery that may not ever be fully revealed on camera. When you look beyond the viral clips and the flashy headlines surrounding the Yandy Smith versus Rashida Frost confrontation, what becomes clear is that this moment wasn't just about a single disagreement. It was the eruption of deeper emotional layers, built over years of friendship, loyalty tests, industry pressure, and unspoken frustrations that finally rose to the surface. Fans who watched the clip closely could sense that both women were carrying emotional weight that went far beyond reality TV theatrics, because the tone, the pauses, and the expressions in their faces revealed a mix of disappointment, exhaustion, and long-held tension that doesn't emerge out of nowhere. For Yandy, her reaction felt like the response of someone who has constantly tried to maintain grace while feeling judged or misunderstood, especially in a space where alliances shift and loyalty can be easily manipulated. She has always projected strength, but in this moment, her voice carried the strain of someone who has been holding back emotional truths for far too long. On the other side, Rashida's energy reflected the frustration of someone who feels protective of her family, her reputation, and the stability she has built. And any hint of betrayal, even if subtle, hits her deeply. Their clash mirrored years of shared history, mutual respect that may have been tested in private, and emotional fatigue from the pressures of being strong women constantly under public scrutiny. Add to that the stress of the industry, producers pushing narratives, fans dissecting everything, cast members taking sides, and the emotional stakes double. This wasn't just anger. It was hurt, disappointment, and unprocessed conversations wrapped in sharp words. That's why the confrontation felt layered. Yandy and Rashida weren't just reacting to each other. They were reacting to years of misunderstanding, unspoken truths, and moments where one expected the other to show up differently. Many fans also pointed out that both women have been through emotionally heavy storylines. Yandy with Mandeezy's legal battles and motherhood struggles. Rashida with marital challenges and public judgment, and those experiences inevitably shape how a person responds to conflict. Emotional baggage doesn't disappear. It leaks out in moments of pressure. So, what viewers saw wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of history, stress, loyalty, and emotional wounds that both women have carried silently, finally spilling out in a way that made the internet freeze, replay, and analyze every second of their explosive exchange. When you trace the events leading up to the explosive Yandy Smith versus Rashida Frost confrontation, it becomes clear that this moment didn't just happen out of nowhere. It was the result of a slow, steady buildup of subtle disagreements, miscommunications, and behind-the-scenes tension that had been simmering long before cameras captured their heated exchange. Fans who follow both women closely know that their friendship has always operated in waves, moments of strong unity, followed by stretches of noticeable distance. And when you stack those moments chronologically, the tension becomes easier to understand. One of the first hints came months prior, when viewers noticed Yandy and Rashida no longer interacting as frequently on social media. Fewer comments, fewer likes, fewer story tags, small details, but meaningful in the influencer world where digital interaction is often used to signal real-life closeness. Then came a podcast clip where Rashida talked about friendships changing when people stop being honest. A comment fans later revisited and tied directly to the confrontation. Around the same time, Yandy was filmed during another cast event, mentioning people who smile in your face but switch sides when it's convenient, which many now believe was an indirect reference to Rashida. Add to that a reunion episode where both women noticeably avoided taking strong stances on each other's situations, and viewers began sensing unresolved issues bubbling beneath the surface. Even old cast group photos resurfaced, showing Yandy and Rashida on opposite ends of the layout. Something fans argued reflected deeper emotional distance. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, whispers about disagreements over loyalty, production choices, and private conversations being repeated to the wrong people kept circulating in fan circles, adding more complexity to the timeline. Then came the Mandizi situation. It's only intensified speculation. Some believed Rashida had information she wasn't sharing, while others felt Yandy had been shutting people out emotionally, creating cracks in her friendships. By the time the confrontation actually happened, all these small moments had quietly stacked up like dominoes. And viewers watching the timeline now can see exactly how each piece aligned. It wasn't one argument, one rumor, or one misunderstanding. It was months, maybe even years, of unresolved tension finally snapping. And when you layer all these earlier signs together, the explosive energy between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost becomes less shocking and more like the natural result of a complicated, slowly escalating buildup that was destined to reach a breaking point. The fallout from the Yandy Smith versus Rashida Frost confrontation didn't stay contained between the two of them. It sent shockwaves through their entire circle, shaking alliances, shifting friendships, and triggering a wave of side responses from castmates, influencers, and even people who hadn't been involved in the drama for years. As soon as the clip went viral, fans noticed that several familiar faces from the love and hip-hop universe suddenly became very active online, posting cryptic quotes, liking shady comments, or quietly unliking old pictures, creating a digital ripple effect that made it obvious. The drama had stirred up underlying issues for more than just Yandy and Rashida. Some cast members who have historically stood beside Rashida subtly showed support by sharing posts about loyalty and protecting your peace, while those closer to Yandy began reposting messages about truth always revealing itself, immediately signaling which side they were leaning toward without naming names. Even longtime friends who typically avoid drama found themselves being tagged into conversations by fans demanding their opinions, forcing some of them to address the situation indirectly just to quiet the speculation. Commentary pages jumped into the mix, tagging both women repeatedly, stirring up predictions about who would speak next. A few influencers who used to be part of the friend circle resurfaced as well, using the chaos as an opportunity to share their side of past events. Some siding with Yandy, others subtly reminding everyone of Rashida's history of protecting her brand and family. Producers and castmates from related franchises like Love and Hip Hop Hollywood and Miami chimed in too, with some dropping comments that hinted this rivalry had been brewing longer than viewers realized. Fans were quick to collect screenshots of who followed, unfollowed, blocked, or muted whom. Every tiny social media shift became evidence of behind-the-scenes alliances. Even brand pages connected to both women were dragged into the discourse, with users flooding their comments demanding they take sides. Meanwhile, people speculated heavily about who might respond publicly next. Kandi Burruss, Kirk Frost, Mendeecees Harris, Sierra Gates, or even Carly Red. whose history with both women gives her the perfect position to stir the pot. In group chats, interviews, and story reposts, you could feel the tension building as everyone waited to see who would break their silence and what that would reveal. The confrontation didn't just split opinions, it rearranged the entire social circle, leaving fans watching in real time as friendships were tested, alliances shifted, and the ripple effect spread far beyond what anyone expected. At the end of the day, the explosive moment between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost has taken on a life of its own, turning a single heated exchange into a full-blown social media storm that has fans, blogs, and entire timelines analyzing every angle. Yet it's important to remember that despite all the speculation, theories, and detective work, nothing has been officially confirmed by either woman or their inner circles, meaning everything circulating right now is based on interpretation, edited clips, and the internet's natural instinct to fill in the blanks when a situation feels bigger than what we're being shown. What we do know is that the tension didn't appear overnight. The layered emotions, the cryptic lines, the sharp tone shifts, and the ripple effects across their friend groups all point towards something deeper, something years in the making. And the confrontation simply cracked the door open enough for the public to sense there's a history that hasn't been fully unpacked on camera. But until Yandy or Rashida decide to speak directly, everything else remains speculation. And that's exactly why this moment has everyone hooked, because the truth feels close, but not quite revealed. And now the conversation belongs to the viewers, the fans, the people who've been breaking down the clips, connecting dots, and voicing their opinions across every platform. So here's where you come in. What do you think actually triggered this explosion between Yandy Smith and Rashida Frost? Do you believe this was years of built-up frustration finally boiling over? Or was it something more recent that pushed both women past their breaking point? Drop your thoughts in the comments, tell me whose side you understand more. Or whether you think both of them were reacting from a place of emotion rather than intention. And stay tuned, because if either Yandy or Rashida decides to clear the air, address the rumors, or reveal the real story behind this viral clash, you already know it's going to send the internet into another spiral, and we'll be right here, breaking it down the moment it happens.